but we also do encourage the audience. It is. It's podcast day. We're excited. We're digging out there. What have we got? Ooh, yeah.
Dude, it's fucking podcast day.
Takes you back to that time when you remember what you were doing when you first listened to that album, or
What is going on, you champions? That's right. Yes.
What up?
Podcast day. Two dudes talk music. Yes, and stew. I've been stewing on this shit all day.
What is going on?
Yes.
It's that time. It's that time. Podcast time. Yeah, spill the beans, man. Spill the beans. We want it. We want this. The exclusive
Yeah.
details.
Woo! It's podcast day.
Yeah,
It's
buddy.
podcast day.
You know what?
Last podcast before I'm away. Oh, we're excited.
We are. I don't know
We're
why,
excited.
but you're freezing the shit out of tonight. Everything is freezing.
Me? Oh no! I was too excited. I froze the fucking thing.
We'll get you back. There we go.
Am I even?
You're
coming
back.
th-
You're back. You're back.
All
You're
right,
coming
I'm
through. You're sounding good. You're looking good now. What is going on, everyone?
I'm back. How we doing, everybody, mate? Mate, what have you been up to?
Dude, I've
You've
been
been busy with beer buddy stuff, man.
non-stop, man. So busy with the beer buddy stuff. It's so good. Just really smashing them out. It's fucking unreal. It's fucking unreal.
Nice t-shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah, man. I'm reffing it. You know. Just, oh.
Yeah, some fucking band, right? Some fucking band. Yeah.
I love it, man. It's such a good quality shirt. Seriously, it's so comfortable. The print's so nice. It sits on there so well. It's just very good. Very good. Go
There
get
you
one.
go.
I can't wait to get
I'll
the new
send
one.
you. I'll send you the $10 for that ad later.
No, go get the new one. Go get the new shirt. I've got to order that still.
Yeah,
Far
that's
out.
right. We got the new T-shirt up there on the Skunk Bone web store with the Powerpuff Girls inspired design, the Skunk Puff Boys. Go and check that one out. We got them up there. They come in sizes like extra small all the way up to like 5XL, I think. So we've even got all us big big taken care of, which is really good. But yeah, man, no, I'm pretty good. I've still got some packing to do before I fly out on Tuesday, but I'm pretty excited, I gotta say.
No, that's good,
Like,
man.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous because it's a long trip. It's like 7 weeks all told, but you know, I get to go and do tons of cool shit. Like I get to go and see some wrestling shows from a few different companies, which is great, including WrestleMania, which has been a fucking lifetime thing. I get to go to Astronomicon, which is a pop culture convention in Detroit, which is going to be insane. I'm going to fucking Disney World. I'm going to Salem. So I get to check out all the fucking like witch trials history there.
That's going to be
Going
so
to
cool.
New York, which is incredible because I mean, when I was there with Tensions Arise, I didn't get to do any touristy stuff. Last time I was in New York, it was all just there for the show. It was like we arrived late. We arrived one day. We were fucking exhausted because we'd had an overnight flight. No one had slept. Then, you know, half the band was sick, and the only times we left the hotel was to go to a music store because the guitars we'd hired needed to be restrung just to go in our tuning, and it was just like it was that and the show, and that was it. And then we had to fuck off the next morning. So we got very little, like, we did very little in New York last time I was there. So I'm really looking forward to going and doing some shit while I'm over there. Actually, while I'm in New York, something really cool is I'm going to see Marcus Miller at the Blue Note Jazz Club.
Oh wow.
Which, if you're a musician, especially if you're a bass player, you probably know who Marcus Miller is. If you don't, you want to go and check him out. This dude is incredible. You know, multi-instrumentalist, 500 credits to his name across producer credits, his own albums, playing on other people's albums, doing film scores, everything. The guy's incredible. So the fact that I get to see him at all, let alone at, you know, an iconic jazz venue, I'm really excited about that. Have I frozen again, mate?
Yeah, but it's just I don't know
You're
what's
freezing
going on
on
tonight. It's just freezing, but we can hear you perfectly, and
yeah,
that's
right,
coming in
awesome.
loud and clear.
Awesome. Well, you know, I love the sound of my own voice, so
So do we.
I don't see why other people wouldn't want to hear it either. So, all right. Well, look, I've fucking chatted about my shit enough. I think we need to get to our guest because this person
man.
has a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. So, look, as I said on our post there, if you've been in the Yes, much love, Hazard Halo. Thank you so much for tuning in and hopping in the chat there. Just quickly, actually, before we do get to our guests, sorry, we need to do all the usual spiel. So, as we said, we said in the past, we've made no secret here. We've trying to hype it up. We are giving away a double pass to Gymna Rocks Festival 2023. If you don't know what Gymna Rocks is, it is it's a 2-day camping festival at up in the mountains north of Brisbane. Lots of fun. Skunk Blown played the last one. There's like food trucks, market stalls. Everyone comes up, sets up their tents there. There's a huge stage, tons of bands, something like 20 plus bands across the 2 days.
26,
like
24 this year.
It's huge. It's a really, really big deal. Some really, really impressive Queensland bands and some other bands from around, but usually Queensland-based stuff. And it's just a hell of a time. So it's really, really fun. Kyle's going to be there doing all sorts of stuff. He's going to interview the winners of this one.
I'll be running.
All you need to do to be in the running for this ticket is make sure you're following us on Twitch. That's it.
That's it.
So if you're watching this on YouTube and it still hasn't sort of passed, April, then head on over to the Twitch, give us a follow. Once we get to 100 followers, we are going to do that draw. So tell your friends, tell your family, following on there. We'll do it live on the channel. Randomly, one of our followers will be selected to win that. It doesn't include transport up to Queensland, obviously, but if you're from another state, do keep that in mind. However, the ticket value is, $240 something. So well worth getting in for that prize for that competition. So with that in mind, yes, now we are going to get to our guest.
Yeah, we are.
Because if you've had anything to do with the Sydney metal scene in the last 15 to 20 years, you've probably encountered this guy. He's been in so many bands and has done a lot of work. He's represented the Australian metal overseas. He's had his music in movies and documentaries and all sorts of cool shit. Let's bring him on. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ace Ventura. No, it's not Ace Ventura. AC Grimshaw. My brother.
Oh, I love it.
My brother. How are you doing?
Hey,
and I should add one of the most glorious beards in Australian metal.
Oh, yeah. It's going pretty good, yeah.
It's really coming along there, man. That's awesome. It's looking so good.
Yeah, you should see my ball throw.
I haven't seen it since last time I was out in Sydney.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. How's everyone going? Good?
Good, mate.
Man,
good.
really good.
Really good to see you. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the podcast and talk to us. As I mentioned, you've got a very, very long history in the Sydney music scene. You've been around for quite a while and done a lot with your various bands. You've seen so many bands and performers come and go. You've seen the rise and fall of venues and the ebb and flow of the scene. The beard matches your position as a wizened member of the
and not just
it
that,
matches your station. We just need some like wizard robes now, and you'll be all good.
Mate, so far ahead of their time with using the effects on the vocals and stuff like that as well. You were much further ahead than what I think anyone potentially realises. I think it was just bad timing.
People couldn't handle it.
Yeah, man, they weren't ready for it.
The only reason I did it is because we couldn't afford a sound guy. So I was like, well, I need to take my little sound guy in a box, and that was it.
Hey, whatever works, man.
It worked well.
That was just kind of it. We traveled around with it, and for the most part, like when it comes to like with NASJAP, with songs like "What Is Love," it was a joke. Even when we were recording that, the guy that was mixing it and doing it goes, I'm not going to do the T-Pain voice, and I'm like, no, you have to. No, I don't understand it, and I'm like, just do it. So he actually walked out of the studio, and then my guitarist Adric had to go do it all, and then it wasn't like till a year and a half later that he was at the venue doing sound for another band, and he watches and he goes, I finally get it. I get what you guys were doing. I get the joke. And I'm like, how come you couldn't get it a year and a half ago? But anyway.
A bit ridiculous. Like, what? You're paying this guy to record you, and then he's refusing to do something so basic.
I kind of got what he was going for, because he kept going, you sound amazing. Don't put this on. And I went, you don't understand. It has to happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen.
And look, as a producer, they can give their advice. That's fine. That's one of the reasons you hire them. But ultimately, you know, it's not anything offensive. It's not anything illegal.
Yeah.
You're saying, yep, we respect your input and your thing, but this is the what direction we want to go with it.
Shut
Yeah.
up and push the
It's
buttons,
part of your
desk
job.
monkey.
It's part of your fucking
Push
job.
'em.
Like, you know, I think, yeah.
It actually wasn't a bad thing. Like he just was. He kept trying to tell me I'm better than putting that on my voice because obviously
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
coming in is going I want to do it, but I was like it's the joke. It's we're like a metal band that's pretending to be metal and we're doing this. So
But
I don't know.
that's
Most
the thing,
people
though.
got it.
Look at bands like Steel Panther and Psycho Stick and Bro Job and Buried Alive and this stuff, and they're all, you know, that tongue-in-cheek attitude. They're doing metal with the tongue-in-cheek attitude, with a bit of joke about it, and you know that's far more accepted now than it was,
Yeah.
you know, 10 years ago when NASJAP was kind of doing the thing. And
I still remember.
it's not like, I mean,
I was-
I think bands like Psycho Stick started 20 plus years ago, so obviously it's not like you guys were the originators of it, but
Hell
no
no.
one else in Australia was doing it. And that, it helped you guys because it helped you stand out, but I think also there was an element of you would have had a lot of people just like, what the fuck is this? Like, is this a joke?
That was it. Like, there was this like line drawn where they're like, "You're not a metal band. You're using this," and I'm like, "I don't think you get it. I don't think you get it," because I could sing, but I just when you're touring as much and as little as you are, you can't afford a sound guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, here's my box," and for that one song, of course, we used that effect.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was great. Man,
I-
you used to get crowds pumping.
Because you don't
Yeah.
take yourself too seriously, and that's
Actually,
what it's a really
a guy
appreciated.
came up to me and he was in one of the bands and he goes, "Listen, I bring my girlfriend to every show and she fucking hates it." Wait, can I swear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Swear away.
You absolutely fucking
Alright.
can.
She fucking hates it. And then she saw your band. She's like, "You guys got to play with him again." And it was because of What Is Love, and I was like, "Well, cool." Like whatever works.
ACEY with the Riz.
Man, that's it. AC,
My dude.
AC will pump up the tires for you, boys. You just got to ride it home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like, you all you have to do is look at the popularity of a band like Psycho Stick now, and they've exploded in the last few years. There's the market for comedy metal is a thing. I mean, even though Tenacious D had a lot of like acoustic stuff, Tenacious D was like kind of comedy metal, I guess, back in the day, but it was still at a small level like that. It's still not really looked at. Like, I can remember, a guy that was in bands around the same time, you know, back around that sort of 2010 period, who wanted to do like, it was comedy, but he wanted to play it straight for the joke and have basically kind of like the Village People, but in an Aussie metal band. So it was all different tradies.
Oh.
And so like every song, the song titles and the lyrics and the album titles was all like around tradie lifestyle and stuff. And it was just like, you have to imagine something like that would do. Yes, it's tongue in cheek, and I don't know what the long-term shelf life would be, but it'd be a lot of fun while it was around.
Well, I reckon the chats are a good gauge for that on longevity of that, because they are a piss take. They are so funny. They are just a crack up, and they just appease to that. Oh, they appease to that bogified rock and roller that just loves to sing about the pub and getting good pub feeds, and I love it. Like, it's just so funny. Like, it's not serious.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think, I don't know, maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should kind of all come together and write a bunch of music that's
Satirical.
that's satirical, like tradie metal or some shit. I don't know.
Tradie metal. Is that the new genre? I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back a little bit further, because we've been talking about NASJAP, which was kind of like, what years was NASJAP active for? Because it was like 2010.
2010. Yeah, 2010 to 2016, 17. Technically 2019, but yeah.
Okay, and there was going to be a sort of reunion for the Moshfest on High Street show.
Yeah.
That's not happening, right?
Yeah, we were going to do an acoustic set, which we've done before. Totally clean, which kind of works, but it didn't eventuate, so...
Which is still a shame. You know, I know, like, Kazzy put in a ton of effort around that show, and it's much... I know he's not watching because he's at Venga Boys tonight, but very much appreciate the effort around that one, Kaz.
Yeah.
It didn't go unnoticed or uncared about at all. But yeah, let's go back further than 2010. And go back to when you started taking an interest in playing and performing music, because it wasn't something that you originally kind of wanted to do, right?
No, not at all. So when I was younger, like 15, 16, I started wrestling professionally, which is kind of unheard of.
You mean that fake shit? That fake
That's not wrestling. That's not wrestling.
It's real, like wrestling, not fake. Like
exactly. And so I was pretty young, and I remember I was doing websites for a lot of random things, and I contacted this company in Sydney, which I'd seen already. I'd seen them in Penrith perform, and I was like, "You guys don't really have a website," and I don't know how, when I was like 14, 15, I knew how to code HTML, but I did. And I said, I could do a website for you. And they went, how about you come down and check us out? And I went, okay.
Is it a company that's still around operating, or is it?
No, they're not. No. But iterations of it are. People from the company still wrestle.
Okay.
Even though it's, I'm guessing, it's over 20 years now. 20.
I remember when I was a kid going down to the local RSL with mum and dad and watching I think it was the AMW or the AWM or something like that. AWU. Maybe that was it. I think it was the AWF. But I used to remember going down to, like, I think it was Liverpool RSL or something like that, or somewhere out there. And it was cool, man. It was, they used to let you go in the ring afterwards. It was so much fun.
Oh, they told me to come down, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I couldn't drive. I'm like 14, 15, whatever. And I said to my dad, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a website for them. They want me to come and talk to them. He's like, oh, okay, that's weird. So I got there, and the whole time they're like, I was at Blacktown PCYC, and they're like, sit down on the side, and we'll talk to you later. Cool. And I'm like, well, we're about 2 hours in. No one's talked to me about the website. And then they go, oh, do you want to get in the ring? And I'm like, no. I'm here for building a website. Like, no, like, we want you to get in the ring. So they got this guy to monkey flip me, which I didn't know even what a monkey flip really was. Like, I'd seen it on TV, but I was like, oh, what's a monkey flip? And so the guy got me, and he flipped me all the way over, and I landed on this boxing ring. No mats, nothing. Oof. And then they were like, so do you want to come back? And I went, I'm just here for a website. So, yeah, I came back. And 6 months later, I debuted, and I wrestled for a few years. And then in my last match, we were going for the tag titles. And as I was kind of running up to get a clothesline, I jumped too high and I broke my collarbone. So as I was in the ring, we're in the main event, and nobody's like, we're in Parramatta RSL at that point, and nobody's kind of really paying attention. Like, there's a decent crowd, but nobody realizes, like, wrestling is real, even though it's fake. And I'm struggling, so I'm in the corner of the ring tapping on like this because I can't move my shoulder. And my dad had to get one of the wrestlers, Dean Draven, who was getting some beer at the bar, to just casually do a run in and beat me up to throw me to the back just so he could get backstage. And so a few months later, I was recovering, but during the recovery, I started meeting a lot of people, and they're all into music. And I was like, oh, I can play guitar. I can't, but I could. I could play bass. There's 4 strings.
I could do that, right? How, I can
wrestle.
play bass. How hard can it be?
I can do that. And then, I went back as a referee for a bit, and then I was kind of finishing school and whatever. And at that point, I met Kazzy, from like Tensions Arise, and I'd go over his house all the time, and
Which is, but this is well before Tensions Arise existed, right?
oh,
This is
way
before, like, yeah.
we might be getting 18 years before, like,
Gee, so it was like fresh out of high school kind of thing.
yeah, like 2004, 3.
Would have been 2004, 2000. I graduated 2004. Yeah.
Well, this is during high school.
Oh,
So I
jeez.
I was wrestling during when I was like
Oh,
in high
wow.
school. Because I just looked older, so I get into clubs and pubs and whatever. So
Oh, lucky you.
I remember meeting him, and we tried to start a few bands, and it never kind of went anywhere. We had a few bands. One of them was called Necra, and it was horrible. And like we used to play in my backyard, and the neighbors would be like, "Stop!" Because we play covers of Drowning Pool and Marilyn Manson and all, whatever. Like, but we didn't know what a prac studio was. We're like, I would have been 17. Everybody else was like 16. Maybe
Yeah.
someone's 18. Whatever. So that kind of led on, and then I kind of realized, like, you know what, music doesn't hurt as much as wrestling. So that was my transition. Oh, trust me, music hurts nowhere near as much as wrestling.
I'll take. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take it from the professional. I'm going to take it from the professional that's done both. I'm not going to argue.
So that kind of led me into doing all that stuff. I then used to hang out with a few guys, and one of my best mates at the time was called Maggot, and he's now in a band called Tomorrow's New Format, who was meant to play the Mosh Fest show.
Mm-hmm.
And before Horrorwood Mannequins were Horrorwood Mannequins, there was a guy named James, and he was on vocals, and he was just called James. And I remember coming one day to we were at a garage or whatever, cracking, and I was like, oh, dude, like, I love Frankenstein drag queens from Planet 13. Like, you should be called Audrey, because before Wednesday 13 was called Wednesday 13, he was Audrey 13.
So you gave him the name.
I 100% did.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like,
I
dude,
didn't know
you
that.
were
I know.
Audrey.
I
you
knew,
never
I
knew.
knew Horrorwood. I knew,
Yeah.
I knew the whole fucking thing, and I knew,
Well-
I knew. I never went to the shows because by the time I started going to shows, they weren't really playing all that much.
Yep.
And when I was growing up around sort of like Western Sydney, I didn't really know enough people that were in that scene to go to any of the like Judges Car Park shows or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to any of that stuff, but.
Well, before they became Horrorwood, we used to play birthday parties. And our problem was we had like a revolving door of drummers that we'd have to train up on the day. But because like you're in the metal scene, you know the song. So like we were like, all right, our set is half of Murder Dolls, half of like Drowning Pool. Then we've got like a couple of Metallica songs, and we might throw in like just something else, right? So most of the drummers that came in were like, I know all those songs. It's all good. So we used to play parties all the time. And then we kind of, I don't know, we kind of went our own ways for a little bit.
Mhm.
And I got into, I was 18 at this point, and I started going to like a lot of shows at Penrith during the week. Image Nightclub was one in Penrith. There's a few more.
Was
But
that
I
the one
saw a
above-
band-
Was that the one above Tattersalls where?
Yes, that's
where,
what
where the
it was
laser zone
called.
used to be.
Wait, no, I'm wrong.
No.
Image was, it might have been where Penrith Hotel is.
Out
But
the back.
the first time I saw Diasphere was actually above where you're talking about Tattersalls.
Yeah.
They were doing a band comp. And the only reason we went is because the guy that used to play, the guy that was in the band was in another band. Sorry, the guy that was in the band used to work at My Music in Penrith. So he was like, yeah,
Good
come
old
along.
music.
Yep. And we were like, cool. And then I saw this band called Diasphere, and I got so into them. And kept going to all their shows. And then finally we went to the Celts bar, and it was their last show. And I was like, oh, that's really sad. But I kind of at that point knew all the guys because we're going to all the shows. And plus, they never did anything kind of major. Like, they were just very local, like Lower Blue Mountains. As far as they probably got was Parramatta.
Ah, back in the Albion days.
Yes, Albion, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll get onto that a bit later, yeah. And I was kind of just... Yahoo Messenger is what I was on at the time. So this is the time period. I was talking to one of the guys, and they were like, oh, we're looking for a new singer. And I was like, I can do that. Never had before. Never had. I was like, I can do that.
How
Easy.
hard could
I
it
can be a
be?
metal singer. You just got to go, and I was like, yeah, we can do that. And anyway, I kind of practiced all their songs because I knew them. And then I went there with one of my friends and went to the studio at Penrith, Symphonic Studios at the time, I think it was called. And they invited me in there, like, okay, well, you've got to do these 3 songs and we'll see how you go. And I did it. And it just so happened the original singer was there. And they were exchanging like the whole bank details and moving money over because he'd left to go to a band called Baraka or the Black Arts Movement or whatever. And yeah, like I did my audition and I got as we were leaving, they were like, yeah, you're in. I was like, and it was kind of one of those rock star moments like the movie where it's a band that I'd love to watch and then I got to be in it. I was like, this is pretty cool. So for the next few months, we got ready and we got a show at Penrith Panthers, The Back Door, which used to be huge in Penrith, like huge.
Saw Carnival there. Or, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and or they might have been Evans Theatre at that point.
Yeah.
At Back Door, I saw Frankenbach, Cog, Tourette's,
Far out.
Fingerprint Resistor. Anyway, I saw like a great amount of bands, and we were ready for this show, and then we broke up 1 month before the show. 1 month, and we were all advertised and everything. And I still actually have the poster on the wall. And then when that happened, I don't know. I guess I was a little bit depressed. It's a little bit upset because I'm like, I finally made it. I'm in a real band, not like a party band. I'm in a real band.
Yeah.
Was it a real band? No. Like, they did nothing. But they did more than I'd ever did. And then we were driving one day. I remember, this is only like a month before, or a month and a half. And I heard Atreyu right side of the bed. And we're all in the car. And we were like, this is what we have to do. We have to be this band, Atreyu. So we started the band and we got a few members. And we also tried to get Audrey from Horrorwood Mannequins over, and he tried out, and we're like, you don't really work. But that band eventually became Thoughts of Yesterday.
Hey, there it is. There it is.
Yeah. And that's how we became Thoughts of Yesterday, because one song, Right Side of the Bed, Atreyu.
Wow.
Which I found out years later on my whole wrestling path. The Bella Twins are in that clip. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that till years later.
There you go. The stars aligning, right? It all kind of coming together.
Yeah, it was. It's a bit of a. I'm trying to make sure I get the timeline right, but
Just as close as you can, man.
I like
I'm
how the basis is depending on the messenger service you use. So it was like Yahoo Messengers, so we know exactly what era we were in.
yeah. Yeah, because definitely from like Thoughts of Yesterday, we go to MSN.
Yeah.
For you kids out there, for you kids that may have heard of MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger was before that. Yahoo Messenger was before that. I think, was Yahoo Messenger kind of between AOL Online and
Similar
MSN
time.
or similar time frame, right? Because
Even before.
I never fucked
even
with
be-
AOL Online, so
See, I did for a bit only because we signed up for it one day. But before Yahoo, I was on ICQ.
yeah.
And I still remember 575-32517. That's my ICQ number. Hit me up. I don't even have my password.
It doesn't even exist anymore, does it? It's like,
It does. It's still out
does
there.
it? Oh my god.
Wow.
I tried to sign in about like half a year ago, and I was like, oh, I don't remember my password. So I was trying like my password's like Fluffy Dog 69. No, it didn't work. But yeah, that brings up to thoughts of yesterday, which I don't know, at the time, I don't know, like, I've always loved metal, I've always loved rock and whatever, but thoughts of yesterday just kind of, okay, before I came on here, I kind of went back and I listened to the CD and I went, ooh, we're bad. But at the time, it was all right.
Yeah, you don't realize at the time. It's new, it's impressive, it's, you know, it's the same reason that I think I liken it to the whole thing of when you're a child, time seems to pass more slowly, and then as you get older, it goes faster. Like, and there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of theories behind that. Some of them are like, it has to do with metabolism. Some of them it has to do with when you're a child, a year is a greater percentage of your life, whereas as you get older, each year is a smaller and smaller percentage of your life. So it seems, you know, and you've experienced less as you've experienced more as you get older. So individual things seem less significant. And it's, you know, there's a whole number of theories, but it's the same kind of thing, right? Like when you're first starting out and recording this stuff, you don't know how bad you are because it's all you know. And then as you get further along the journey, you're like, oh, okay, we were pretty terrible, and this is why we were terrible. So, you know, we can, as you learn more, you know what I mean? You just kind of, you don't know you're bad at the time because it's all you know.
Look at us then, but look at me now, ma.
We started the thoughts of yesterday, and I guess like I went from Diosphere, which was like an industrial metal band, and to be honest, at this point in my life, I didn't like when I was in high school. I liked bands like Static X, Saliva, Mudvayne.
Yep.
Slipknot scared the fuck out of me for some reason. I don't know why.
9 dudes running around in fucking scary masks.
It was the clown, wasn't it?
Actually, no. It was the whole fucking band, and I'm like, oh, I listen to this music, and I'm scared. Like, I don't know why. Now I'm like, this is awesome. But at the time, I was like, oh, Slipknot are the scary band. No, I've lost where I was going. But yeah, so I used to listen to all these bands, and I didn't realize like I was even into this music. And actually, wrestling did a lot that for me because they used to put the alternative rock bands and metal bands on.
Back in the day, man, they used so many fucking metal songs.
That's how you used to find new bands.
Yep.
100%. Like Saliva I knew before they're on, and which was cool because when they showed up at like WrestleManias, I'm like, oh, like this is exactly what I wanted to watch. So I never knew like what I was really into. And then when I got into Diosphere, I'm like, oh, they're industrial metal. Okay. And then I started listening to like a little bit of that. And when I was in that band, they were like older than me. So they showed me bands like Bleeding Through, Lamb of God, Blood Duster.
Fucking Blood Duster, man.
Yeah. And then I remember going to, we went to Leading Edge Music in Penrith. And one of the guys was like...
Fucking Leading Edge.
Yeah. One of the guys was like...
This is all the spots I know, by the way. Like, like ACEY grew up not like, very close to where I grew up, and we kind of didn't cross paths for a long time because we weren't in those... We didn't run in the same circles, but all these places he's mentioning are like... I frequented those places too. My Music Megastore in the old Brash's building... How they lasted as long there as they fucking did, I don't know. And Leading Edge Music, once HMV and kind of, you know, closed down and everything. And just like... But before JB Hi-Fi opened, because once JB Hi-Fi opened up, it was game over for everybody else.
Yeah, everyone, yeah. But Leading Edge Music, what was I saying?
You were talking about like how wrestling got you, you know, in a lot of bands, and then you were doing the kind of industrial music thing.
Yeah, Leading Edge, Blood Duster.
Yes.
So I'm there with one of the guys from Diosphere, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta get the new Blood Duster single," and I'm like, "All right, what's it called?" And I looked at him, I'm like, okay, and one of the songs was Sticky White Love Piss. And I was like, and still to this day, like the word cum of Sticky White Love Piss. It's just unreal. Anyway, the song's not too bad. Never a fan of Bloodduster. Never ever been a fan of Bloodduster.
I will say though, if I can just jump in for a second, I don't like. I'd never heard of Bloodduster until I went to my first big day out.
Okay,
And I'm pretty sure that was 2004, and I think they were playing it. And I went with one of the guys I was working with at the time, because I was working at Blockbuster Video, and he knew a lot of heavy bands and stuff, and I was going to Big Day Out. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going with my sister," and the sister also worked at the Blockbuster Video as well. He's like, "Look," I'm like, "I don't know anyone who's going. You know, my mum's a bit worried about me going on my own. You guys are going. Can I come and like spend the day with you guys? Because they're a couple of years older and whatnot, and the whole thing." So that was the thing. And he's like, "Oh yeah, Bloodduster. You got to check out Bloodduster." And they're fucking up there on stage, like covered in fake blood and everything. And like, yeah, okay, I'd listened to Slipknot at that point, but I hadn't been to a lot of shows or seen this stuff. And I was 16, but I was a bit sheltered for 16. So I was at like Big Day Out, and I just saw these guys on stage, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is intense. And I couldn't process that at the time. I was just like, this is so fucking heavy and so extreme. And now there's, literally watching music videos where the guy's like wrestling a bear and riding a fucking tank and shit. But, like at the time, that was very, very extreme for me. So.
Oh, dude, when I was in Diceville and they showed me this and like, you got to get that. And I'm like, okay. And then I remember I bought it because the guy's like, you got to buy it. I'm like, okay, I've never heard these. And he put it in his like CD player in his car, and I'm like, "Think of my love piss streaming down your chest," and I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty extreme." But now I'm like, I kind of love that song just because I heard it like years ago.
Yeah.
So with the Thoughts of Yesterday stuff, we started that band, and so you got to put this in perspective. This is like 2005 at this point, 2006. So I Killed the Prom Queen and Parkway Drive are like not even playing venues bigger than like the Gaelic Club at the time, or Tattersalls, or
they were still
PCYCs.
They weren't like a big band. They were kind of like big for the local scene at the time.
That's right. Like, they're headlining the local. Yeah. So, like, we started playing with a lot of the bands. We got a lot of like the shows, and then as we played, we went to the Albion Hotel one night, and
that's my stomping ground.
As we were playing, one of the ladies came up to us, which she's not with us anymore, but she came up and they went, "We want to see how you guys are doing versus Tourette's down the road at Collector." And I was like, okay. And Metal Matt was DJing, and the first time I kind of met him as well. And I've met him like many times. Like, I've known him for so many years. But they went down to the Collector Hotel, and there was like 10 or 15 people watching Tourette's, and then the whole venue at the Albion was packed. So as we went upstairs, we finished our set, and they offered us management. We were like, okay. So I talked to the boys in the band. I'm like, we've been offered this. I don't know like how legit it is, but whatever. And then as we progressed, we got put forward for Roadrunner Records.
And we were like, I never knew you guys got that sort of interest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That does explain, though. That explains why everyone knew Thoughts of Yesterday from back then. Like, again, it was kind of...
Because it just kind of happened.
I wasn't in the scene enough at the time to really know that. I didn't start to know you until Vendetta Symphony, but Thoughts of Yesterday is one of those bands that, like, everybody fucking knew. It
kind of happened, and I think it was just right time, right place, being emo, screamo, and that's what the thing was. And I cut my hair to make sure I had a fringe and everything, like you.
Yeah, you were at the right point in the movement.
Yeah, and so we got put forward for the Roadrunner, and obviously we didn't get picked. But the band that did, and I still have them out there, and I can't remember their name. They ended up playing with Iron Maiden, but they were like an emo screamo band in like 2006.
Wow.
I can't remember their name, and I really want to look it up. But they were on tour with Iron Maiden in 2005, 2006. If you can,
In Australia?
in Australia, they were on the tour. Yeah, around that time.
Go,
We're on
keep
the
talking.
tour.
I'm looking.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look it up.
So yeah, if you can find that for me, that would be great. Because I have to walk outside to get it. Because I still have their CD on the top. I might start with like a B. But yeah, so we got put forward all this stuff, and then when things started progressing really quickly, after that, we started getting put up with shows with like Days End, Frankenbach, Sunk Loto, Cog. And the band members didn't want to be involved with that.
What?
Because they were more emo, screamo, hardcore, and the other side was metal, hardcore, alternative.
Why are you
Now,
trying to
don't
put
get
yourself
me-
in a box?
So one of the guys actually, he left, and his band toured a fucking world for years, and I can't remember what they're called, but they were like a hardcore band. We used to play with like Shinto Gitana.
Yeah, we had Dave on recently.
Yeah,
Sorry, mate. I can't find it.
the band that was in the maybe I can find it. It was the Australian tour for Iron Maiden, and they got put on the opening slot, and everybody was like poo-poo because they weren't power metal or
Yeah.
anything like that. I wish I could. Yeah. So we had all that, and then finally, the band members were like, 3 of them were like, we're out. Now, 3 of them kind of actually went on to do pretty decent things. One of them, exceptional things. The other 2, okay things. And then 1 came with me, which was Adric. So, which at that point, also yesterday died, and I started a band called, actually at the time it was called My Life for Yours, and we were like an emo screamo band, but with a bunch of metal players.
Was it behind Crimson Eyes?
That's it. That's the one. Yep. That's the one that got the contract.
Sorry about that. I just yeah.
No, that's all right. You managed to
No,
track it down.
I'm glad you got it. Yeah. They got the Roadrunner contract. We were like, they're amazing. I used to watch them all the time. And so I started a band called My Life for Yours. But every person in the band was kind of more metal, and I was still trying to kind of piggyback off the whole Thoughts of Yesterday thing. And they were like, no, you should just do what we're doing. I was cool with that. Vendetta Symphony, I grabbed like a few different members from bands that I've been in, like from Diosphere. I had Adric as well from Thoughts of Yesterday for a little bit. And then the lineup changed a few times. Years ago, we were massive in Europe. They were buying our CD online from some website. We didn't get paid. And we were like,
What?
what? Yeah. And then again, I was like, so some of the videos of them on YouTube, they're way higher than even like NASJAP and like Toy and all, because some website ripped our music and played us. Honestly, got no issue. If we're bigger in Europe, we're never going to tour Europe. Like no one's
No, but if you
Still
know you
doing
have those
anything,
numbers
so-
there, it's meant to, it's a gauge on where you should be going, where you should be putting your focus
yeah,
into. It's
yeah.
That's the whole point of having analytics like this. It's so you know where to target your audience.
And I only randomly found it because I was looking at the band and I was trying to actually find the logo because I didn't have it anymore. And then we looked it up and we're like, what do you mean we've sold that many? I didn't get any money. it happens. So while Vendetta was going on, I got a call from my friend Evan, which we'll call Maggot. And he went, I've got an idea. I've left Horror and Mannequins, and I've got an idea about a band.
Before we move on,
yep,
sorry,
yep.
I do want to touch on something. For those that may not know, prior to Tensions Arise being a thing, I want to say very nearly, I don't know how close I actually came, but I auditioned for bass for Vendetta Symphony.
I'm sorry, I went past that.
I was like, yes.
You did.
It was
Was it once or twice?
It was twice, I think. Once was
yeah,
at LA Studios, because I distinctly remember being at LA Studios for one of them, and the other one was, I think, was at Penrith. Symphonic, and I tried out for a couple of them there.
So I probably never told you why you never got in.
I mean, not that it matters, but please go ahead.
No, it doesn't matter. So my hand was up for
it for the Vine.
You're in. And then my drummer said, he talks like a textbook. And I went, that's because he knows what he's doing. He went, yeah, but I don't understand it. I went, okay, so why are you saying no? He went, I don't get what he's saying. I'm like, well, because he understands like what he's doing. He went, he sounds like a textbook. No.
He articulates himself too well. I don't want him around.
Still to this day, I'm like, Josh, why? And he's like, textbook. I'm like, fuck. So that was it. Which I'll go back a little bit.
It's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
The guitarist also wanted his brother in to play bass.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit of that as well. Now, to be honest, his brother on bass was fantastic because he wrote songs and he actually wrote most of the next album.
Yeah, so, no doubt. There's no hate about that whatsoever. Like the guy that ended up playing bass for you guys, was fucking amazing and was absolutely the right pick for that point. You know, I wouldn't have been able to do anything near to the quality of what he could do. So,
but I went to Penrith Music, High Street Music, and I remember walking in, and I remember telling the guy at the bench, and I'm like, he goes, "Are you still looking for a bassist?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then he said your name, and I'm like, "Oh no, we've already connected. You know, it's all good." And I still to this day I can't believe like how you put yourself out going, I'm ready for any band, like I'm ready to do anything, and I think that's amazing. Yeah,
like I was looking at the time, and it's just because I didn't know anyone, right? Like the school I went to was like it was a Christian school in the middle of nowhere. Like it wasn't the kind of school where you could just play hooky or walk out and get the bus home. You know what I mean? Like it was up on a fucking hill in the bushland out the back of Erskine Park, and there was like nowhere you could go. So you were at, and it was a very, very small school. Most of the other people didn't have much interest in alternative music. And those that didn't really play instruments.
Yep.
You know, and I had I'd had an interest in alternative music since like the mid-90s, and I'd started playing guitar, and I had like one friend that I was able to jam with, but we ended up with like one drummer and 3 guitarists. So I kind of went, oh, I'll play bass then, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, because I had the false thing of, bass is easier. I can play bass because I'm the least talented guitarist. Bass is a bit easier because it's got 4 strings and it's one note at a time, and it's this, that, and the other. And for a long time, I played bass like a failed guitarist, which is a thing. Look it up. And it took me like, and then I started going to, I think it might have even been before I started at TAFE, I was talking to you guys. But I was just like trying to find bands to be involved with.
Yep.
And trying to get out there and make some of those connections because I had none. So that's why I was open to like anything. And it's kind of, I think early on, you kind of have to be open to anything. You have to put those feelers out and make all those connections because that's how you get started. You know, it's how you find the right thing. Because the first band you find probably isn't going to be the right band.
Exactly.
So you need to make these connections with lots of different people.
And you got to find out whether you actually want to play in a band. You got to figure out whether you just want to do a solo
That's true.
thing, or whether you can actually have the capability of gelling with three,
amount of people
four, five other people.
The amount of people that think they want to play in a band and just end up in really shit situations because it's not what they wanted, but then they try and stick it out and make it what they wanted and just make everyone miserable. Anyway, sorry to sidetrack with that. I just like
I love that actually.
It was a very fun, very fun time. And look, for what it's worth, I mean, the songs were really, really fun to play. You know, and I had the auditions that I attended. I had a great time while I was there, playing the songs with you guys. Like, you know, if you guys had gone with me, I feel like, you know, myself and Josh could have, like, you know, we would have kind of got to know each other a little better and the way we speak and interact and engage with stuff. But I get it, because like I was still fairly fresh off my like piano, like 5 years on piano, very theory focused, and I hadn't learned how to parlay that into like speaking with musicians that didn't have theory training or didn't have formal training in music.
See, you had my vote, but there was another agenda going on, which is honestly why I left the band at the end of it. Because actually, I haven't even spoken about this. So when Vendetta Symphony did their first album, I booked everywhere. Sydney, Wollongong, Newcastle, Albury.
I can remember attending a show at like St. Clair. Was it the youth
Rec
centre?
Centre. Yeah,
The Rec Centre in St. Clair, behind the shopping centre there, where I got the fucking CD, the upside down, side up CD.
Oh, do you know how that happened? So it's called Upside Down, Downside Up because I did the artwork and then I took it to a printing place. But when I did the artwork, I didn't realize I had to flip it. So one side became upside down and the other one became upside up. I went, how am I going to fix this? And we're all in the studio going, they're like, Ace, you fucked this up. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And I went, done. Album is called Upside Down, Upside Up. And that's why it's, that's called what it is.
Love that.
Making lemonade, man.
Yeah.
Gotta make that lemonade. But yeah,
this is what I mean. This is what I mean, bro. Like, you're a guy that's been in the trenches. You've done all the shit, and you've got all the fucking stories from it, man. This is why I knew it'd be good to have you on, and we may end up having to have you on again.
Oh, we will
for a second one because there's so much to talk about.
Continue on about that hidden agenda that was going on.
Where are we up to?
The hidden agenda in Vendetta Symphony.
Vendetta Symphony.
Oh, yeah, so the guitarist wanted his brother in. Now, I was like, cool. But I also wanted not family in the band.
Good move.
End of the day, it ended up working. He wrote, for the first album, he wrote 3 or 4 of the songs. And even the vocals, like, and he just passed them on to me, and then I did it my own way, and I was like, cool. But during Vendetta, I started up with this other band called Chair Like Issues, and it was the guy from Horrorwood Mannequins. He left that, and I got some of my guys, some guys that we met at parties and stuff. And he kept going to me, listen, you're not the full-time vocalist, you're just filling in. I'm like, I'm cool with that. And then he entices with like, it's gonna be party mode. And I'm like, well, I'm down. All good. So we started playing like a lot of Lewisham. It wasn't Club Lead, it was called something else. I can't remember what it was called. But I think the guy was called Skeeter.
Where?
And I remember one of the nights, he's like fucking dancing around and he paid, we were on first and he paid us and I'm like, cool. Oh, he's like $400. Cool. That's pretty good. And then 3 hours later, he's dancing around me and he goes, "Here you go." And I'm like, "There's $1,000. Done." So he was pretty scattered all the time. So I can't remember what that club was called. It wasn't Club Lead. It was before Club Lead. It was
Where was it located?
Lewisham Hotel.
Lewisham.
Abduction
Hotel.
X.
Abduction. That's it.
That's what it
Yep.
was originally called.
Yeah, and we played there with
Club
Cher,
Lead was
like-
in Club Lead was in Parramatta downstairs in that underneath
Yeah.
that Chinese restaurant.
That was when CJ and the other bloke used to run it. It was CJ and someone else. Lee. CJ and Lee.
Yep. Lee is Skeeter.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. I'm actually surprised you got paid.
No, we got paid twice on the one night.
Yeah, I never got paid once. Any night.
And so we did with our Chair, and then what happened with Chair like issues is we started. I don't know. We started getting randomly booked in like Bargo, Albury. Like we started getting booked not in Sydney. We hardly play Sydney. And then we got booked at this festival called Live and Loud, and the headline act was "Operator Please," like not a song about ping pong.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Why the fuck are we on this?"
We're gonna fuck this shit up. That would have been bad.
All right. So
Operator-
they're a band with a quirky name. Let's book them.
That's it. Yes. So we end up. We got told we were getting a Greyhound bus, and they're going to take us there, and we're getting this amount of money, and we're like, done. We went to Bringelly. We waited there all morning, and the problem is, all the guys started drinking at 3 o'clock in the morning because they're like, "We're getting a bus. This is going to be awesome." We're playing first. Well, we got to 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and there's all these Greyhound buses going by. They're not there for us. So we finally call and we go like, "What's going on?" And the people that had booked us went, "We're not sure." An hour later, they're like, "Can you guys jump in your car and just come here?" No. Fuck no. "How much do you want?" Told them. They said, "You'll have it here when you get here." So 3 cars. Everyone drove 6 hours to Albury. We got there. The gig was about a quarter of the way through. And then we got there. Everything's all good. We got our money. And then Operator Please, the singer couldn't sing, so they had to play before us. So then we headlined.
What?
And the video's on YouTube somewhere. And like when Operator Please played, it was full. And then when the shitty quasi metal band played, it was not even a quarter full. But we still got paid, and it was a pretty good day. And from that band,
There we go. Yeah, Chair Like Issues full set, Albury, 8th of February 2008.
it was an amazing time. Even the bands that we play with. So we got given a hotel, and there's a band called Kingswood. I think they might be kind of famous now.
The name
Anyway.
doesn't ring a bell.
Does.
The Kingswood or Kingswood, they end up smashing all the fucking the windows in the
No. God
Yeah.
damn it.
and they end up breaking all the windows, and we got blamed. We were all asleep. Well, some of us, some others were doing whatever, and that was I think that was our last trip to Albury, because we played there pretty much every 2 or 3 weeks. So
Jesus.
Wow.
so there's like that's 6 hours like both ways. And when Chair kind of died because the guitarist joined a band called The Wrath, which I've played with multiple times now. After that went, I think NASJAP didn't start for about like 3 years because we had names like Spear Justice, Oh So Epic.
Because I remember you kind of went away for a while.
Yeah,
Like
we
you
were
kind of
just,
you kind of vanished from the scene. Like I mean, I knew you would still hang out with like with Kazzy and stuff because I remember him talking about doing stuff with you because that was 2008 was like when he and I started teeing things up and started talking about what would eventually become Tensions. But like I remember like we'd met, and I went to a Chair Like Issues gig at Blink, at Club Blink.
Yep.
Which I think might have been even the first time I went to Club Blink, because again I didn't know fucking anyone, so I didn't know what clubs were, what the clubs
Could have
were
been
around.
Club Blink, Club Trash.
But
Like we used
It was
to
it was that era, yeah. It was Blink, definitely was Blink that I went to.
Blink
I
was
went
on,
to for
Blink
that
was
one.
on Saturday, Trash was on Friday for the first part of the night, and when the band's finished.
Yeah, and it's like I remember that, and we were talking about, and then like like you kind of like I didn't never heard about you playing any gigs, never saw you at any gigs or anything until you can like NASJAP like came around. For those that may not know, we're not saying NASJAP in terms of any like it's not a nickname. It might sound like there's no derogatory terminology there or anything. It's shorthand because the band name is so fucking long that saying the full name every time.
Tis a mouthful. Tis a mouthful.
A full band name is not another sequel, just another prequel. So NASJAP is a shortened version of that.
It says it right there in the corner.
I got to get onto the name because
Yes, please.
so at the time we found a bass player from my old bass player from Vendetta Symphony. He's like, this guy can do it. His name's Steve. Great dude. And we had all these names, and one of them was, so the first name, we had all these names, 10, 20 names. And one of them was Anakin Sky Jingles. Weird.
Are we even going to need to do the segment?
Well, the prequels. Yeah, I think we can skip that question in the thing. There's been so many, but anyway.
Anakin Sky Jingles. Then we went to the Ensign Always Dies, which is a Star Trek reference.
Yep.
Which is the red suit. And that was almost there. Like, so we would have, anyway. There was Into Diana Jones.
That's a great name for a parody photo. Oh my god.
Never fucking remake Nightmare on Elm Street, You Fucks. That was a name.
Oh my fuck.
And then we had two other names called Just Another Prequel, Not Another Sequel. And then one of the guys, when we were in the room, went, oh, I don't really like it. Like we were picking names and we're like, Just Another Sequel, Not Another Prequel. I'm like, okay, well, let's switch it. Not Another Sequel, Just Another Prequel. And he went, nah, it's not right. And I'm like, fuck. And then we looked at the name and we're like, well, this one's JASNAP and this one's NASJAP. Which one's better? And he went, NASJAP. I'm like, done. By the way, we never intended to use NASJAP. It just naturally came about because people were like, your name's too fucking long.
Yep. Exactly. Like.
And that's how Not Another Sequel, Just Another Prequel came about, because they were like, your name's too fucking long. And then we're like, oh, we're NASJAP. Done.
Mind you, that like you guys having that ridiculously long band, like your band name is longer than the title of some pop punk songs, and but it's like lately I've been thinking about that and so some of the song names that you had, because some of your song names got pretty crazy as well, and it's got me coming up with like an idea for one of the bands I'm in at the moment, where it's just like a really short song, something like, what's that band, like that grindcore band, and they've got a song that's just like big count in intro, and then it's just everyone just like, let's just like bah! And that's it. It's had I've been thinking of coming up with a song that's like a short, or like that thing from Scott Pilgrim where it's like this song's called I Am So Sad, So Very Very Sad, and then it's like just with something very short like that, but just coming up with increasingly long and ridiculous names for it every show. So it's like or it's like every so often we'll change the name of the song to something longer and more ludicrous.
Yep.
Until it starts getting, until it kind of gets to the point where we just can't make the song name any longer. Yeah. And just kind of hype it up like some massive big fucking thing.
Make it a 2-second song. Dun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a 2-second fucking song. But yeah, you like that sort of. It got me thinking about doing something like that because.
Oh,
Okay, so
within
tell the
NASJAP.
people that may not know, the longest song name.
Yep.
That you guys had.
So it was originally called the Mystery Song, and the song title then eventually was called Halloween Falls on Friday the 13th. While I was having a nightmare on Elm Street, a good guy doll was delivered. Fuck that
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. And that was the Mystery Song, and the song's all about that. Like it's
Horror movies. Horror movies.
I love horror.
You guys were full of the 80s pop culture references,
And it was
right?
so
That was
cool.
basically everything.
And that's what I think kind of worked, because we were playing to a crowd where we're like, all right, most of our crowd was born 80 to like early 90s.
Yeah.
So, I didn't realize this at the point because I just love this shit. But when I did like There Can Be Only One, and people were like, I love Highlander. Like, yes. but Halloween Falls on Friday the 13th, while I was having a nightmare on the street, a good guy doll was delivered. It was actually based off a movie. When I used to go to the markets with my dad, we used to buy VCDs or DVDs pirated. And when Scary Movie came out, we used to go to the markets and they were like, oh, this is Scary Movie 2. And I'm like, it's got released like 3 weeks ago. How you got number 2 out? And the movie was called Shriek If I Know What You Did on Friday the 13th. It's an exact copy of a Scary Movie. Like, if you've never seen it, go find it because it's an exact copy. I don't know how it happened, but it's perfect. Shriek if I know
if you know what I did last Friday the 13th.
I think I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that one.
It has some big actors in it.
Coolio was in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
that one.
no way.
And there's
That
that
movie.
they have that scene. Oh, there's that scene where where she wins the fashion show.
Yes.
And does the running around in the room. That part cracks me up, man. The beauty pageant.
Oh, I have
And
seen that. I
Officer-
have seen that poster before. I have. That's
Officer Dewey is in his bedroom with a vacuum cleaner. His mum comes in, and he's not using a vacuum cleaner to clean a floor, but he's using it to clean something else.
I
And,
told you not to disturb me while I'm cleaning my room.
You've seen that movie. There you go.
I thought that was in Scary Movie, wasn't it?
It was in one of them, by the way.
Might be in
I'm
both.
watching the trailer right now, by the way.
Yeah, that movie is pretty good.
Oh.
It's it's horrible but good.
Yeah, I've got to find this fucking movie and watch it. That looks amazing.
I'm gonna get pickled later and watch it.
Yeah. The guy lighting his fucking face on fire. What the fuck? Okay, that's going on the fucking list. Holy shit. Okay, I think we need to do some two dudes movie time where we. Oh shit. Okay.
We're gonna bring up all
Anyway,
the old school, the not safe for work old school ones.
So yeah, so not another sequel, just another prequel. Was it was just all the fucking artwork and band shirts and everything was just like themed around all this 80s pop culture shit.
Yep. Just because what I loved, but
Yeah.
I also found out the rest of the band loved it, except for the drummer, who was younger than us by like 5 or 6 years, and I'd known him for years. But I remember the day we did an interview with Irk FM, Eric Irk FM, and he was talking about where we're doing like a new Back to the Future song, and he asked all of us about like the song, and we were all like, yeah, like we love the movie, and he's like, never seen it, and I was like, what?
This is Aaron you're
Like,
talking about, right?
Yeah, Aaron. Yeah. I'm like, what? Now he's only just seen it the last 3 years.
Was his
And-
life changed? I hope his life was changed.
No, he did agree. See, I think number 2 is the best.
You want to know what's
Like-
fucked up? I've seen 2. No, I've seen 2 and 3. I don't think I've seen the original.
You've got to see the original to understand number 2 and number 3.
I understand enough about what happens in it. Same with Terminator. I've not seen Terminator 1. I've seen Terminator 2, Terminator 3.
Honestly, Terminator 1's nah.
Terminator 2 is the superior one for sure.
Oh yeah, like it's when they talk about like is sequels better than like the original. Well, Back to the Future 2 and Terminator 2.
Yep.
Aliens.
Yep.
I think Aliens was. You can be debatable. It depends on what kind of movie you like. But for me, Aliens.
You're right.
Aliens is a better film than Alien for sure.
Much more aliens in it.
Because of the plural.
Yeah,
It's got twice as many.
But you're right. You're right. Like that sort of content, it hit the spot, right? It was that nostalgia content for everyone that grew up in that was born in sort of through the 80s into the early 90s, because that was all the pop culture staples for us. And even if we hadn't seen the stuff, we'd seen it referenced on The Simpsons or something, right? So like we knew it all. We knew it all the jokes. With
A-Bit Superhero, so I remember we were at one of the guys' houses, right? And we're writing the song, and I'm trying to be like, okay, I'm your 8-bit superhero fighting crime one pixel at a time, or whatever. And Adric goes to me, Adric's been around me like pretty much my whole life, so I always reference him. But he goes, "It doesn't work," and I'm like, "It does if you listen to it." He goes, "No, it doesn't work," and I went, "Okay." And then the next day we went to the studio and he went, "It works." But during There Can Be Only One, this is a little bit of like weird trivia. So we're in Penrith Symphonic Studios and we're writing the song There Can Be Only One. And we're having problems going from the verse to the chorus. And they were doing like I'm like, it's not kind of working. How about we do Mario? They went, "We can't make Mario work in here, Ace." Fuck. And I'm like, okay, but you could go. Dun 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 dun.
Oh, break it
Reese
up.
then turned around and Reese went, "Give me a second." And he played it and he's like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, no, lower. And he went, dun, 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 dun. And then finally that became There Can Be Only One, the thing. So like, you got the Mario kind of, dun 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 dun, all because I have no idea how music works. I don't understand chords. I don't understand whatever. I kind of get it, but I was like, this can work. It works in my head, and they're going, "No, it doesn't. You don't understand." It's in there because it works. So. That's a little tidbit.
Be like, I want a syncopated part here. Just do it.
And then your drummer's just there like, I don't know what's syncopated.
Yeah. Do it, Stick Monkey.
Sorry.
Do it.
No, Aaron's amazing. Aaron's an amazing drummer.
Man.
I'm so stoked I got to play with him.
Yeah,
at the,
So was I.
that Heavy
when
Metal
I
United show, that Heavy Metal United show that we did
Yeah,
in 2015, him drumming for that was like, it was so good to play with him.
And he had some Hot Wheels.
In a group. Oh yeah,
Story
the
about
fucking
Aaron,
band.
his combi.
Yeah.
Yeah, the combi. Story about Aaron. So we're in this bedroom here. There used to be a drum kit here somewhere. There used to be like a computer, whatever. And I've known his sister for years because I went to TAFE with her. And then one day I was looking for a drummer, and she's like, "Hey, my brother drums," and he's like probably 17, 18. He comes to the room, and I said, "Mate, listen, before you join this band, you need to watch a video." And he goes, "Oh, what?" And I go, I've got a dirty video for you." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And I go, "It's not one guy, one cup." And he goes, "What's one guy, one cup?" I go, "Excellent." And I made him watch a video of a guy chopping his dick off. And if you could get through that, I went, "You're going to be fine in this band."
Did we ever tell you that when Kyle joined Tensions Arise, we made him watch a midget porn DVD?
What the fuck?
Fantastic.
What the hell? What? I just wanted a drummer to stay. You were trying to actively drive them away.
our the guitarist we had in the band at the time, who didn't end up playing any live shows with the band, worked at an adult store. So one time, we would regularly do like full weekend sessions. So like we'd go to Kazzy's place on the Friday night. We'd get like cases of like UDLs and fucking just like play music and drink UDLs and watch shit and get wasted. And one day he fucking comes over. One day this guy arrives, one of these fucking sessions, and he's like, guys, you gotta watch this. And so we're just like sat around fucking getting wasted watching this midget porn DVD. And then when Kyle was looking at joining, we were looking at getting Kyle in to join the band, we're like, we should make him watch the midget porn. But we didn't tell him what we were putting on. So we just fucking put on this we're just sitting around drinking and we're like, oh, we got this DVD you should watch. And we just fucking put it on. And yeah, it's like, if you can get through that, you'll be fine, right? Like,
see,
well, that's how Aaron stayed with the band, and he's always. If you ask him, go like, "Hey, oh, by the way, the drum kit wasn't shit. The drum kit connected to the computer. The sound card wasn't right, and the latency was so far out that he'd go like, and then you hear, oh. So like there was like, so he had to play with this, and I'm like, just make sure you get it right. And he's playing, trying to keep up. He nailed it with the latency of like
playing like half a beat ahead on everything. Like,
yeah, and I was like, you're doing pretty good. I can't believe it. Like, he's actually an awesome drummer, but he has no confidence in himself.
Aaron, if you're watching,
dude,
don't be a dick to yourself. You're awesome.
Dude, man, yeah, no, you are next level.
And like the fact that what was always kind of cool was when he first joined the band, I went, dude, bands are cool, but you're going to get to that point that someday you're going to go, I hate this and I can't be bothered. And it was years, right? And it was like, every gig I go, Aaron, how you going? He goes, I love it. I love it. And there was one show, and I think it was at the Red Rattler or...
Oh, yeah, Red Rattler. I remember that.
Red Rattler, yeah. And he goes to me, I'm not feeling this anymore. I go, welcome to my world. Get on with it. And he was like, got it. And I go, you still love it, but now it's more of a job than like, yeah, but you still love it.
Yes.
And when he finally hit that point, he's like, because he's a drummer, he's got to get all his gear out because I'm the vocalist. I'm not helping.
Power to the people.
You've got a beard. You got a beard to comb and preen, mate. Like you don't. What do you?
Carry
can't
my
be on
little
stage
bag with
with that beard and that hair and not have it be like properly brushed and styled, right?
Like, I got a vocal pedal. That's pretty heavy. It's like at least 2 kgs. So like, I got to carry that in. So.
Yeah, look, my hands are full. I have my microphone in one hand and my pedal board in the other. I can't help you carry anything. I'm sorry.
Look, I used to have to carry this every time. I used to have to play a show. Carry this.
Love it. But what I did do very good is we played a show in Newcastle with Dark Cell. Yeah, Dark Cell.
Mm-hmm.
So we played the show on a Thursday night, and the room, let's say 60, 70 max. Thursday night. 2 bands before us. No. One band, us, another band, Dark Cell. We had all our merchandise out, and our merch always looked very good. I was always very proud of it because I made sure, like...
And you should have been. You guys always had amazing merch going, and you constantly had new stuff too.
We got there, and then we played our set, and I'm sweating, like, so bad. And I was like, okay, we didn't have a merch guy. It was midweek, and he couldn't come. He's like, I can't, I got to work. I went, cool. So I had to do the merch. So I kind of wiped myself off, and then a line went, and I'm not even fucking joking. Every single person in that room, 70, lined up. To the point where I'm selling, and I'm going, all right, what do you want? And they're like, oh, a large shirt, cool. All right, here we go. And we get halfway through, and they're like, oh, I need a large. I'm like, all I've got is like a 5XL. And they're like, oh, that is going to be a 90 for me. So
God damn.
we sold the whole thing. We sold all our merch. We made about $3,000 that night.
Wow.
Ah, dude. That's
Dark
amazing.
Cell are sitting over here going, oh, what a night it's going to be.
Everyone already blew their load on your guys' merch.
Yeah. And
Got
that's what
that, got that sticky love kiss
I-
everywhere.
I spoke to them. I'm like, I don't know what happened. And they honestly, Jesse turned around. And he's like, I didn't even care. I'm so glad we had you on the show. And that's like, because randomly we went to Queensland and he was working at Hard Rock Cafe. We went there for a meal and he was a server and he's like, oh, is that your CD? And we're like, yeah, dude, do you want one? Which I kind of knew who he was because from Devolution, like back in the day. And he's like, yeah, I'll have a CD. And he goes, oh, NASJAP. I know who you guys are. And I'm like, hey, Jesse, I know who you are. And he's like, cool. MTV are doing a spot outside. If you guys just want to go head outside and take some pictures before they get here, then you look pretty good. And we never took that up because we were like, oh, we can't do that.
Ah,
Should have.
yes.
Should have.
Absolutely should have. So, okay. So, you've been through Thoughts of Yesterday.
Yep.
Was the first kind of main one, I guess. Then into Vendetta Symphony and Chair-like Issues. Eventually, not another sequel, just another prequel. You guys were doing the rounds, playing a shitload of shows, having awesome, I mean, anyone that was in a band at that time, like all the bands that were going around at that time would have played with you guys. Pretty much. You guys played plenty of shows all over the shop. Lots of shows with tensions.
I think I have one of my posters from one of our first shows when I was in existence with
was
him, with you
always
headline.
fun. Which was always fun. It was always a good time playing with you guys. I can still remember we tried to do like the slow-mo moshing to to that one bit. By the way, if you've got any like posters that you can spare from like gig stuff, but like old school gig stuff, whether local or larger stuff, Six, who runs Dr. Gear, he's looking for posters to decorate his new shop. So if you've got any you can spare, definitely. Because I figure if anyone you got, I know you got like boxes and boxes of shit.
Is he opening back up in Campbelltown?
No, he's moving to Newtown.
Oh, good on him. Good on you, Six.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, there's actually, sorry.
If you got any that you can spare, definitely.
Oh, Japan.
So
I was just saying that there's still a bit on the wall there.
Oh,
Japan.
yeah.
Oh, look at that bra, panties. Holy shit!
Oh, yeah.
Should get into that story one day.
so NASJAP's going gangbusters, and you guys had the opportunity to play in Japan. How did that happen?
Yes. Okay, so I got an email from a guy that was in a band who I can't remember the name now, and this is I even wrote it down and I've lost a bit of paper. Because he contacted us and went, listen, we're missing a band for a Japan tour. Can you guys go on? And I went, yeah, okay, that sounds all right. Who's on? And they showed me the lineup. And it was Elvite, Attilian, Lycanthia, and then Blank Spot. And I went, well, I know Lycanthia, but like, we can't play with Lycanthia. We're like a fucking comedy band that does like metalcore. And the guy goes, how about I offer you this price? And I was like, wait a second. So buy-on normally was what? And he was like, 20 plus grand. And I'm like, okay. Buy-on now, and it was closer to 8. And I went, let me think about it. So then I started asking a few people that I knew got offered the spot. And they were like, yeah, we got offered 15. We got offered 18. I was like, okay. So I went back to the band and I went, so the buy-on spot is this, and this is who we're playing with. And
So
they went,
the buy-on, sorry to jump in here, so that basically the prices that we're talking about, for those who may not know, is the price that that NASJAP would have had to pay to get on to this tour. That's the buy on. It's a common thing for a lot of smaller bands when there's bigger tour opportunities come up. If sometimes they'll ask if a smaller band wants to buy on to the tour. It's every band has to evaluate whether it's their own best for them or not. A lot of bands will do it to raise their own profile. It's just one of those cost-benefit analysis things.
It is
a
no
very
different to
common
when it's no different to when Cold Chamber bought into Ozfest.
Yeah.
And became a massive band. Like it's what you do to make your way.
Yeah.
Like and to be honest, I don't agree with it.
No.
But that's how you get somewhere.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you sometimes have to bite the bullet and do.
Yeah.
To some degree, it is pay to play unless you happen to get picked up by a management label or something like that that's willing to pay that for you.
That's right.
If you're
They
fortunate
pay for
enough,
you.
and but for the like-minded people like us and stuff like that, you got offers where it was pay to play, in no shorter word of a term. But you went out there with your merch, you had opportunity to do sell, and put your brand out there, and you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah, and can I ask you with that? So for this particular tour that you guys had this thing, what was included in that? Did that cover any of your accommodation and domestic travel costs in Japan, or was that purely just to get on the tour and you guys had to pay the rest of your stuff?
So get on the tour and plus travel for 3 of the cities out of 5.
Okay.
Which 2 of them were like walking distance, which you didn't need to.
Yeah, okay.
If that makes sense. Like it's your gear's already there. So like they'll travel you through if you look at it like Australia, like Sydney, it was like they were taking you from here to the Central Coast, and from here to the South Coast.
Yeah.
And from the South Coast back to the CBD.
Yeah.
And then from the CBD, you got 2 shows that are within 10 minutes, so you don't need to.
Yeah. Okay.
You pay your own accommodation, which we also got fucked on, which I heard about before we did it, called the Gaijin tax. But we booked all our stuff, and then the first hotel we went to, booked everything, booking.com, all good, and then we walked up, and the guy went, "Oh, it's more." I'm like, "We paid everything." He goes, and he basically, in broken English, went, "You're not getting into the room unless you pay more." How much more? $500. So I stormed out, told the guys, I said, "Listen, here's what's happening," and they all went, "Oh, we should just go somewhere else." I went, "Well, that's going to cost us even more, so because we'll lose that money and never get that back." So I went, "We pay the $500, we go in," because we're there for a week.
Yeah.
So technically, less than $100 a day. All good. Japan was amazing. The reception was amazing. Our schedule with the lineup was pretty good. What they did is they rotated as every show. What just so happened is the last show, NASJAP played second last, and then all the bands requested if they could come up on stage and play "What Is Love" with us. So there's a video online where all the bands just randomly come up out of the crowd. Tilly and Lycanthia, we were almost gonna get Elvide, but they were like, we can't do that. Oh, they would have done it. They were ready for it. So we had all the 3 support acts doing "What Is Love," and it went off, and I had people contacting going, "Oh, your guys' tour of Japan was amazing. Your headline slot," and I'm like, "We weren't headline," but it looks that way, which is pretty fucking cool.
It's good, man.
But a story you might not even know, Seraph. So we were over there, and we've got our merch there set up. We got a merch guy there, who we invited over, and we had some random Japanese guy come up going, because Tensions Arise had just played 1 month before.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't in the band at that point. I'd left. I'd left by that point. But yeah, they went over and do that. That was actually kind of I wouldn't say the catalyst for me deciding to leave, but I was still financially really out of sorts after the America thing, and they were talking about doing Japan.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And there was a number of other issues in play at the time, but that for me was, I was kind of like, I'm not going to be able to afford to do that, guys. And I was kind of like, that was what made me realize, like, financially I can't keep doing this, and there's other issues as well. So I kind of was thinking about stuff, and I kind of was like, all right, I'm just going to have to step away from this. So unfortunately I didn't get to go over as part of that, but I am stoked for the guys that they got to do that.
But I think you'll enjoy this because we had a random Japanese guy come up going, now, broken English. Kazi said, you will have a shirt for me. And I'm going to my merch guy going, what? And he goes, yeah, Kazi said you'll have a Tensions Arise shirt for me here. And I'm going, we only have NASJAP shirts. And he goes, no. Kaz said to me, you will bring over Tensions Arise shirt for me. Then I realized that Kaz is drunk because I am fucking smashed as well. Because this place is serving you like the cheapest alcohol. And he's gone, don't worry, they'll bring you over a shirt. It'll be fine. That guy spent 35 to 40 minutes going, give me a shirt.
Oh, no.
And when we tried to hand over a NASJAP shirt, he's like, no. Tensions Arise. So,
Kazi, get that many shirt.
Yeah, Kazi, you better fucking if he never got his shirt, I think you've still got some left. You need to send that man his T-shirt.
And if you can't remember who it is, send it to a random Japanese person.
the first place.
Yeah, just some random fucking house in Tokyo. They just get this delivery of a T-shirt. They're like, what the fuck is this?
The first place we played in Japan, they were like, so the numbers might be wrong, but they put out the cup and I was like, whiskey. And they poured the whiskey. But you go, when? And I was like, why aren't you stopping? Why aren't you stopping? And she kept looking at me going, when? She filled it up to the brim and it fell over and I'm like, oh, stop. And she goes, basically $3. And I went, all right, boys. I walked back and I went, all right, she's doing whiskey for $3 a full cup. Go for it. Which full cup is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we were playing second. This is like half an hour into the show. Oh, we're on stage with full cups of whiskey going, oh, $3. This is amazing. So the first show we ever played there, we were fucked. So then I told the guys, like, we need to dial this back. This is not Sydney.
Just a little bit. Fucking hell.
But, Japan is a wild place. They love music. It's not.
And you're
like Australia at all.
You're a big, like, you're a tall dude.
Yeah.
You're a tall
I'm
dude,
fucking
right?
wide and
You
tall.
you must have been fucking like. Did anyone call you Hagrid? Because you were like, you would have had the fucking the height and look. Surely someone did.
Voldemort's gonna pop out somewhere.
It's so hard to explain because all the Japanese venues are like underground. Like, and if somebody lit like a cigarette on fire or like a fire, you'd all be dead. But as you go underground, as the bands play, I was staying like kind of upstairs and I was smoking at the time. So I'd smoke. And then girls would come up with their fans and like I'm sweating because we're not used to the humidity they have. Like it's raining. It's not like here, like humidity's bad here. There it's worse.
Yeah.
You're standing on the steps and I had like Japanese girls fanning me down like this, like for an hour. And they're like, are you good? I'm like,
Just random, like.
yeah.
Hold on
Yeah,
a
they
second.
just-
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
$3 cups of whiskey. Japanese women fanning you down because it's hot. Why did you come home?
because I have a mortgage. It was unreal, and I still remember one guy. We played the show. I walked upstairs. I needed some air. It was so humid, and he goes, "I'm getting you a case of beer." And I went, "No, I just want a water." And he's like, 2 waters. I'm like, "Okay, 2 waters." He goes, 3 waters. No, stop. He went into, they're called like, it's like 7-Eleven. I got out with a 6-pack of waters. I wanted 1. Like, oh, there's also, I shouldn't tell this, but I kept getting bras and panties thrown at me.
Just in the street?
No,
Or like
no.
on stage?
No, on stage, which, let me see if I can, they're still here.
That's, yeah, okay.
Yep, bras, panties, yep, bras, panties, yep, brought them home. So that kept happening on stage randomly, however. Which I don't know why. Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
I'd say that I hope that happens once to me in my musical career, but I'm a bass player, so it never will. Like,
If it does, it'll be because it caught a fan, and it accidentally got pushed your direction.
yeah, they're trying to throw it at Corey or Zach, and it just like the fan blows it across to my side of the stage. Yes. Then they'll be like, oh no.
Give it to him.
With the bra, I got thrown on stage, and after the show, which I can't remember where it was, doesn't matter. I put it on. So I was walking down the street with it on.
No.
And then
Oh.
the cops stopped me.
Yeah, I knew exactly where that was going when you fucking said it.
And I'm like, what's the problem? And then Adric, who he's been with me for years, had to step in. And the cop's like, "Are you in charge? Because if you are, you're going to jail." And he's like, no, I'm not in charge of these delinquents. No. He de-escalated the situation because I'm loud. Adric sent me back to the hotel in the bra. So, yep, whatever, all good. There's a photo somewhere online with me in the bra. And we got back to the room, and I'm like, "I'm hungry." And he's like, you're not leaving the fucking room." I'm like, "I am." So I did. And I went and got some Japanese food. Two of us did. But Japan, don't fuck with Japan.
No,
But
don't.
they were happy enough to have us there. Don't fuck with their system.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason why it's
At
one of
all.
the safest countries on the planet.
Yeah. Don't fuck around.
Yeah. Wow. That's, yeah. It would have been a sight to see, I'm sure, and especially once you get a few drinks in you, you can get like,
Oh, there was
you get
more
pretty
than a few
rowdy.
because
You're like,
that night they brought the Jaeger out, and I said to them, "Don't give me Jaeger because I drink it out of the bottle." And they went, "That's fine." I went, "Okay." And no, that night was pretty wild.
Because if there's one thing that Japanese and Australian culture have very much in mind, it's our drinking culture.
Oh yeah, we go.
We love a drink.
Yeah,
We go.
I
hard.
agree with
So-
that. Yeah.
And beyond the tour of Japan, something else
Yep.
that's really cool you guys did as well. Your music was featured in some like a couple of movies or documentaries
Yep.
as well. So tell us a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Yeah.
And
So
what those are?
Randomly, NASJAP got to be zombies in a movie called Wormwood. So we were talking about using our music in there, but we just got featured in there. So if you get the Blu-ray, you get to see us all do the backstage stuff and learn how to be zombies and sing our stuff and whatever. And from that, the guy that was on the set, who was the guy that takes care of the guns, I can't remember what his name is, like what his position is. He put a NASJAP song in his movie. And then randomly, a guy was doing a sequel to The King of Kong, which is like an arcade movie. And his movie is called The King of Arcades. And I just kind of reached out and I'm like, "Listen, dude, I love like retro games. I love that. And I showed him my arcade, and I was like, we would love for you to put our song in your movie. And he just kind of responded back with, let me hear it. So we sent him 8-Bit Superhero. Literally, like 10 minutes later, he responded back with, yes, how do we get this? And we worked out like a deal. And then from that, he listened to What Is Love? And he's like, I have no idea how I get this into my movie. And I'm like, I have no idea either. Like, we paid for it. But how do you do it? And he's like, do you sign a waiver? And I'm like, done. So during that movie, which is pretty good, the documentary, sorry, you've got 8-Bit Superhero, which opens the movie, and then it's like halfway in. And then during like the final kind of scenes, What Is Love gets played. So I was really stoked with that. And when we came back from Japan, and yeah, Kyle, like you weren't in the band anymore, Seraph, but like, yeah, we played with Exist Within.
Yeah. Well, it was the Traps of us. It was NASJAP, Tensions, us, and then when Acid Nymph blew onto the scene with Raph.
That might have been before I joined.
Or even beforehand. We did a bit of Acid Nymph.
I think Aaron was still playing. I think Aaron was still playing bass for Acid
somewhere
Nymph
here. There it is. Dawn Heist, Tensions, Exist Within, Seconds to the End.
And at the Tatterstools.
Tatterstools.
I have that poster still. That's the one poster I have.
Well, that poster, I spent so long making that poster. It's got Pac-Man in the background. It's everything. I was fucking so stoked.
It's got you guys playing pool in a corner.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Far out, man. This is nostalgia lane. You know what the funny thing is? When you brought up Lycanthia, right?
Yep.
Lycanthia was my first Australian underground Aussie show at Club 77. Back in the day, I was 15, and it was the all ages daytime show, and I'll never forget this thing for as long as I live. I remember walking downstairs, the floor was sticky, and it just smelt like piss, vomit, and beer. It was fucking sensational, because obviously they had the night before, because it was Saturday.
You could be blindfolded and know that was Club 77.
Yeah. Yep, 110%. It was just next level. Cryogenic and Lycanthia. Never forget it. Never forget it, man. I'll never forget it. You know why? Because it feels good to be a Westie fucking headbanger.
All right. Let's move on to the segments. We've been going for fucking ages. This is great. We're going to be running a little longer than normal tonight, I think.
Go hard.
That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
Sorry, I talk way too much.
No, dude.
It's the whole point of the podcast.
Why I knew it'd be good. Like, because you've got the reason we wanted to get you on as well is not just because you got the stories, because you're passionate about it.
Yeah,
you're passionate about it. You love music. You love you love talking about it. You love being on there. So we'll have you on anytime. We'll have you on anytime. You should, in fact, you should come on with Kyle and do some guest host stuff while I'm away.
Do it. Do you want to guest host with me while Raf's away?
We can do that.
You should do some of those while I'm away.
Yeah, sweet.
I think he's gonna get some.
Honestly, I'd be happy. Honestly, this is amazing.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. All right, so Kyle, if you can get ready and hit the thing, let's go to the quick question quarter. Let's go. Quick question quarter.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, what we do now is we run through a bunch of rapid fire questions. Our guest ACEY has talked about a lot of his experiences. You might feel like you know him a little bit. The whole point of this exercise is to feel like we can get to know him just a little bit deeper, get a little bit down into that psyche. These are going to start out easy, and they're going to get harder. These are just rapid fire questions. So let's go. I mean, you kind of touched on this one already. First instrument, that was guitar, you said, right?
Yeah.
All right. First album that you purchased or was that you wanted to get that you got?
Yeah. So the first album, can I say single?
Yeah, we'll go with a single.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well, that's-
sorry. Because the first one was the Rembrandts,
Or
the Friends. That
The Friends theme song, yes.
yeah, and then I got given Bon Jovi, Slippery and Wet. So
Alright.
that led me into
Solid.
but
Yeah.
the Rembrandts, the Friends thing was like
Yeah.
yeah.
awesome. First live concert that you attended.
After the Wiggles, it was Killing Heidi at the
Yeah.
Panthers Evans Theatre.
Solid.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, we don't count like the kids,
Nah.
like the Wiggles stuff.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah. So that's why, yeah.
The one you
Okay.
either snuck out to, or the one that
You went to
Mom,
the, yeah.
I really want to go.
And the Killing Heidi one was I was 16, and they played their electric set, and they came back for another hour to do their acoustic set.
Very
And it was all the same songs. Yeah,
was that?
it was
Very,
it was
very
good.
cool. What's an instrument you've always wanted to learn but haven't been able to yet?
Saxophone.
Saxophone. Love it. Love it.
Didn't even have to think
You
about
gotta,
that.
you gotta do. You're gonna have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do the next metal band that you're in. You gotta put a sax solo in there.
Yeah. Oh,
Dude, have you heard that? Have you heard any Red Hook?
I have heard Red Hook. Yeah.
Dude, they've got a couple of sax solos in a couple of songs. They're fantastic.
All right. If you could pick one big band or artist to open a show for, who would it be? Now I'll put some rules around this one, so it can be. It's basically no rules, right? It can be living or dead, active or not, any particular period in their career.
Yep. Yep.
Who would it be and why?
Kill Switch Engage.
What era?
Whoa.
I'm gonna go Howard because
Okay.
I like Jesse, love Howard, love Jesse now.
Awesome.
I'm with you 110% on that. I'll definitely roll with Jesse now.
All right. Who is a band or artist that you're listening to at the moment that you think is underrated and deserves more attention?
Pop Evil.
Pop Evil.
Pop Evil.
And the song that keep because it's my vocal range. Pop Evil. You got some names of the?
So is this the band that does like Torn to Pieces, Trenches, Footsteps, Boss's Daughter?
Yeah, not the song I'm looking for.
Okay. Paranoid, Crash and Burn, Waking Lion, Survivor, Eye of the Storm.
Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
That done. That's it. That's like listen to that. Done.
Just put it on now. I can already. The start of it is already getting me.
The chorus. Oh,
I'm still hung up on that. Remember when we done that end of year stream, Raph?
Yeah.
And you showed me that female vocalist who done that hotel song?
Oh yeah, Scene Queen.
Scene Queen.
Scene Queen. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, those guys are definitely going on my fucking playlist. Jesus Christ, that song. Just the first 15
that
seconds of it.
chorus is
All right. What is something people may be surprised to learn about you?
when I was 12, I was on a game show called Super 6 on Fox Kids, and I cheated, and the host told me to stop cheating. And it's on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
How did you cheat?
Yeah. Yeah, what happened?
So in my round, when I was up at the microphone to do my part, I lost. But I knew every answer. And everybody else that was at the podium, I was like, this is the answer. And Scott McRae was like, oh. So you can see that on YouTube. And yeah, he's like, Alan. Oh, wow, real name. Stop.
Okay. Now, look, you mentioned a whole lot of band names and song names over the course of the podcast. In your opinion, what do you think the cringiest band name or song name is that you've been involved with?
Oh, chair like issues.
Yeah, I thought that might be the pick. It's like really trying to be random. Oh my god, that's so random.
Nah, never liked it.
Yeah. All right. What is your most controversial musical opinion?
Michael Jackson is the greatest musical performer ever.
I said controversial,
It's controversial now.
not.
No?
No. Well, no, I don't think that's that controversial. Like,
think it's a fact.
like him or hate him.
I think it's
like
a
him or
fact.
hate him because of
Ooh,
whatever
okay.
you believe about other
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know if that's. I mean, look, that's your answer. That's your answer. I wouldn't
Okay,
consider
yeah,
that to be
yeah.
controversial. I'd say that's pretty
See,
much.
I think it is because when I tell people, they're like, "Oh, he's a pedophile," and I'm like, "Oh, wait a second. His music fucking
Yeah, like
out.
what you're in terms of making that point, you're just saying, you're not trying to put him on a moral. It's not a moral question about anything. It's purely, you believe in terms of his musical performance, it's, best of anyone.
Yep.
And it's purely from that angle. I don't think I find it very hard to disagree with that.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
But awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for that, Kyle. If you will please get ready, let's go into my favorite segment of the show, the fuck off files.
Yes. Let
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Fuck off, files.
and there we go.
Here we go. All right. So for anyone who may not have seen the show before, this is the fuck off files, where we talk a very esteemed guest who has a long history in the music scene.
So it's going to be
Been
some
around
interesting-
for a while, done a lot of stuff. Basically, what we say is if you had, like Thanos, gathered all of the Infinity Stones and you could just snap your fingers and fuck off any three things out of the music business, any aspects from any part of it, big or small, broad or narrow, your personal bugbears to broad issues that you think the industry needs to address, anything at all, what would they be and why? So, ACEY, please, your first thing that you would fuck off from the music industry.
Yeah, Biomes.
That is
yeah.
so fair.
Yeah, no, that's very pay to play in general. I
Yeah.
think is ridiculous.
Life's already pay to win. We don't
Yeah.
don't need the music industry to
I
be
was-
that either.
Okay, how's this? I was watching I saw something the other day, and it's like, this is how Kiss, Kiss had the secret to success. This is what they did. They would, find a town. They would book, find the sort of, the two most popular bands in that town. They'd book a venue that those bands could fill, and then they would put themselves on, like, headlining band, Kiss, and then the other popular band right before them. So they'd be sandwiched in between them. And then they'd go out and they'd find, like, 40 to 50 attractive women and be like, hey, if we pay for your ticket and give you our t-shirt, will you come to this show? And I was like, cool. So the tip is have money, basically.
You do know Gene Simmons owns the copyright for OJ.
And like, it's just, that's the thing. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's easy to have success when you can afford to do that, right? Like, but yeah, the pay to win, pay to play stuff, absolutely. I
Yeah,
think
it
there's no
sucks.
question. From a business standpoint, I understand why bookers utilize it, especially in a market like today where it's getting hard. It's getting harder and harder for everyone to make money out of music, and bands are trying to get more out of touring than out of CD sales. And that means that the bands are trying to get more out of it, and so the bookers are sort of losing some of their share maybe, and they're trying to find ways to make that up. Which is why VIP meet and greets have had such an increase in prominence over the last 10 years. But it's yeah. I still think all it does is it hurts the small bands, and you know, because it's a black hole. It's a financial black hole. They'll never.
You never recoup
Yeah,
that cash.
most of them will never get that money back. Most of them will never succeed far enough or exist long enough to get that money back.
Cool fucking story though.
Oh yeah, it gets you a thing, and it gets you the experience for sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to do it just for the experience, I think.
And it's good for the resume. Like if you do, and you know, and realistically, you never do know. You might head to that country, and you could fucking sell all your merch and
Yeah.
And
But
go
like,
for
look,
it too.
what I'll say is Tensions Arise recorded with the same guy that recorded Devil Driver and Fear Factory and Soulfly.
Yep.
And it did fuck all for us career wise.
Yeah,
Yep.
man, it's cold hard truth. Yeah.
Not saying it wasn't a good experience.
No.
We had
It
a hell
was
of a
great
time
for
doing it.
You guys, yeah.
It was great for us personally. We learned a lot about ourselves as individuals and as a group. I learned a lot from watching Logan work, but it did fuck all for our music career. It did nothing that we couldn't have done, nothing that we got out of that in terms of for our music career, other than a little bit of bragging rights. We could have got the exact same recording at the Brain Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, we would have got just as good sounding work, and we wouldn't
If
have had
not
to
better.
spend tens of thousands
Yeah.
of dollars,
They're very good at the brain.
you know, flying over there. But you know, great stories, great experiences, awesome thing to have on the resume. Did fuck all for our career.
Yeah.
So, all right, what's your number 2 thing? that
All
you
right.
would fuck off?
So this is for me.
Yeah.
So I run a vocal pedal.
Mm-hmm.
Sound guys that are like, and this is on the lower level, mid level. I don't want to deal with the vocal pedal because they're like, oh, you have no idea what you're doing. Blah blah blah. Every time I've run a vocal pedal, they come up after it and they go, "Hey, you're really good." And I'm kind of sick and tired of like, I've programmed all this.
I've done my
Personally, it's
volume
taken-
leveling. I've done my
Yeah.
all that shit. Yeah.
We know where we're going. Let it go.
Well, you
And
think
every
of-
time they come back in.
You think a guy that walks in with one would at least know what he's doing. You're not just going to walk in, or some people do it with guitars. I don't think I've seen any vocalist walk in that'll go, "Hey, I've got this. I don't know what I'm doing. Make it sound good."
Yeah, I think it's part of that thing though. Like a lot of sound guys are old school guys, and it's like it's like running the digital guitars, right? And not having cabs on stage. I know you're not a big fan of that, Kyle, but it's the same thing, right? I think if it was to happen nowadays, I think if you were doing that with a vocal pedal sort of setup nowadays, it wouldn't be as much of an issue for them.
Yeah,
Most of them, I
it's a
think, would be
good
a bit more
point.
accepting. It's
That's
a little
a
bit
very
like,
good point.
I put it on the same category as those digital guitar setups. I think.
Look, I appreciate them. They're very good. It's all very, very fang-dangled and great. It's just,
I know you like the
I'm
raw
gonna-
power of a
yeah.
cabinet on stage.
yeah, that warm, bright sound that just hits you from the bum, hits you in the bum.
Did you? Okay, obviously you had disagreements with sound guys over stuff. Did you ever get into like any kind of like not even an argument necessarily, but was there ever an instance where that discussion got a bit heated? Where they were just
Yes.
like, I'm not fucking using it, and you're like, yes, you fucking are. I'm in the band. We're using the fucking pedal.
Okay, every time. This is why
Every
I'm saying.
fucking time. Every fucking time.
Wow.
Wow.
And then I'd put it in and they plug it in and then you do the set and they go, "Hey, you know what you're doing." I don't know what I'm doing. I've got a bunch of guys in the band that know what to do. Honestly, I have no idea about key or fucking whatever.
Well, I think it's just
But
a
they
matter
do.
of knowing how to talk to them about it, right? Like, I don't know what you said to them, but I imagine you'd be like, look, I've done my volume leveling, I've done my EQ, stuff on everything. Like, it's all fine. We've done this 1,000 times before,
Well,
but
let's put it in perspective. I took my vocal pedal to Japan, right? And there's like we can't speak the same language.
yeah,
I put it on stage and they go, "Ah, I get in and they look at my settings and go, now that's not me, that's like some of the guys in my band. I get back to Australia and the guy goes, you ain't using that. I go, well, yes I am, or we can't do this, this and this. And then when I go, listen, I'm not playing unless we do this, they go, fine. And I got told a few times, Lewisham, Tattersalls, that I'll pull you all the way back and they won't be able to hear you. And all right. And then they come up to me and go, oh, this is amazing. Because we spent the time making sure it worked.
Yeah.
Like in this box, I've got a sound guy that's doing all the work. There was so much, but yeah, that always shat me. But at the end of the day, no one ever said no.
It's good. At least you got your way.
Yeah, definitely. And look, it's part of the thing, right? It's just part of what you guys do. You know, I've even by the time that Vendetta Symphony was coming around, look, I knew that you were someone that very carefully crafted what you were doing. Like you say, you may not have always known like the technical stuff.
Oh no!
But if you
no
didn't,
way.
you got people who did to help you with it and help you make it happen. And you were very deliberate about a lot of the stuff that you did, which, you know, so many people don't take that level of care, and it shows. It shows. From day dot, NASJAP was basically
you were forced to be reckoned with in the scene.
Basically, a complete package. You know.
I was gonna say, Seraph was you were at the first show.
Yeah.
And you were having prac with Kaz, and you guys had to. I don't even know if you got the full set, but you were there for the first day. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was from the very first fucking time. It was like, all right, yeah, this is fucking. Because like I said, I'd seen, you know, I jammed with you with Vendetta Symphony. I'd seen Chair-like issues once or twice, so I was like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, and NASJAP shows up, and it was straight away. It was like, fuck, okay. This is you've taken literally everything that you've learned and put it into this.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
You know, and sound guys, I get it. They have to deal with a lot of crappy musicians that might have egos or might have ideas above their station or think that they're fucking hot shit when they're not. Or all these fucking kids that come in that have no clue what they're doing and have seen one or two fucking videos. Or, you know, their older cousin who played in bands for a couple of years told them something and they've taken it as gospel and they never want to go against that. Yeah. Like, I get it. Sound guys have to deal with a lot of shit. But, again, similar to the production thing, right? Like, your job is to help the band sound good. If the band says, this is our gear, you make that gear sound as good as you can. You don't argue with them about that. Like, yeah, okay, if their fucking amps are too loud, you tell them to turn them down.
Yep.
But, or if they're moving your microphones into different positions, that's different things. But if it's just their gear, like, and you've not even tried it yet, and you're gonna tell them that they're not gonna use it, like, come on, man.
No. Sort of.
All right.
What's the third?
What's number 3?
Number 3 is
music podcast.
No. It is the head count of the door payment method.
Okay.
Now, this is really hard because that's how we make money in a band. I've never liked the fact that they go, hey, your band gets $1 every head that's in the door. Or your band gets $2 if they say your name at the door. We're all trying to do the same thing. And it's really, and I've got to admit, I've done the same thing, but I don't like it. I don't like the fact that, and when I went to America, I saw Drowning Pool, Flyleaf, and some whatever. And it was $25. Now, most of the shows you ever play here, I don't know, 10, 20, 30.
Yeah.
I saw that in America, packed out. And there was a booking fee. I don't like the fact that you're like, oh, you got to say a band name at the door, and that will get them more money. This is a bullshit fucking way to do it.
Couldn't agree.
Everybody should just like share the money. Now I get if a band is like pushing more and more, oh, they get more. I've never liked the fact that like you rock up at a like Blink or whatever, and you're like, I'm here to see tensions arise, and they're like, okay, cool, tick. And at the end of the night, they get this amount of money.
Yep.
Even though everyone is there.
We all drove there. We all lugged the same amount of gear in. We all did the same amount of bullshit. We all fucking had the same sound guy. Like, I agree with you so much, man.
I don't care if you're the greatest band in the world or you're not. I still think that band that travels 7 hours kind of deserves the same thing. Now, if they have no one turn up, you don't book them again.
Yeah, that's the punishment. That's the punishment.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing for not performing well at a show, is you don't get booked again. You don't get paid. You've shown up, you've played, you've done the job that you were hired to do. You deserve some degree of payment. It's I look at it the same way as, you know, in terms of like applause, right? Like if you're at a show, if you're at a show and you're watching stuff and a band's playing up there and they finish a song, you applaud. Yep. That's a bare fucking minimum, right? Like whether you enjoyed that rendition, whether you enjoyed the song, whatever, they're up there, they're performing, they're putting in the work in an effort to entertain you. That at least deserves some applause of some kind. It doesn't have to be enthusiastic applause, but
It's a golf clap.
you know, the band finishes a song.
I'm with you.
Performing up there finishes a song, and you give them
Yeah.
you give them a bit of that, right? Like there's no. It's and that's the kind of thing that only performers understand. Trying to get a layperson to like the average punter to understand that, it's like trying to explain quantum physics to a monkey.
Yeah, but you know what the automatic assumption is
way
that
over their head.
the automatic assumption though for every punter is that they're getting paid. That's the problem. That's the problem there.
And
the average punter doesn't realise that most of the bands that you probably go and see out there are either not getting paid or getting paid by Arcleys.
Yeah, and I'm not using that analogy to say that punters are dumb. I'm simply using it to explain the concept. It's just like some concepts you can only understand if you're in it. If you're in it as a performer, there's some aspects of it that it's impossible to understand outside of that context and that experience.
Yeah, definitely. I had a guy come up to me at the Valve bar when it
Tempe.
Was it still Blink or was it?
Was the Valve bar at Tempe?
This is
the Agincourt before it was.
Because Tempe was amazing, but Agincourt, Valve Underground.
Yeah.
A guy came to me and he goes, he's seen us twice, and he goes, oh, like I'm so happy to see your band. Like I'm so glad you guys are making so much money and whatever. And I went, what? What do you mean? And he goes, oh, but you guys just played, and I'm like, but we got 500 for tonight. Wait, did we? Might be 250. Yeah. And he was like so going, because he's seen the band a few times. It might have been more than 2, and he's like, I've seen you guys. Like you guys must have been making heaps, and I'm like, I couldn't understand the fact that he'd seen the band playing, the Valve at Agincourt, thinking we were making that amount of money, and we probably paid more to play there than we made. And
yeah, and here's the thing, like it happens. Everyone that's been in a band that's played shows has had that conversation with people they work with. Everyone, every single person I know that's been in a band has had that conversation. You go to your regular day job, and that they'll be like, "Oh, you play in a band?" Yeah, I play in a band. Oh, okay. And at some point, someone goes, "So how much do you get paid for playing a show?" And I always, "How much do you think we'd get paid?" And it's always like 10 times more at a minimum than you've ever been paid to play a gig in your life. I'll be like, okay, let's say, you know, average venue in Fortitude Valley, you know, like say somewhere that's got a capacity of a couple of hundred people. How much would you think I would get paid to play that? And they're like, $1,000, and you just laugh in their face because you're like, there's no way. It's
I
like,
wish I got
it's like,
$1,000.
mate, if I got $1,000
I would be
for
here.
playing fucking, if I got $1,000 for playing fucking, you know, every time we played a gig, I'd be laughing, mate. Like, it's just one of those. It's just the kind of thing. Like, you have to be in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really is. It's just one of the, you know, we as performers and musicians just like the idea that people have about, oh, you know, you're playing a gig, that must be so exciting. It's like, it's like hurry up and wait. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get there and load ins at 5, so you get there at 5 because you're a professional and you want to do your job properly. You
And
get
what
in
time
there
do you play?
at 5 and you spend, you know, 20 minutes loading your gear in and putting it into the tiny, like, 1 square meter space that they have for 5 bands gear. And then you fucking sit around for 4 hours.
And then spend the money at the fucking pub, and then they don't pay you properly.
Yeah. And you sit around putting money into the bar because there's nothing else to do.
Oh, that's right. And if you get paid, you're like, oh, thank you. And if you don't get paid, you're like, oh, well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to play
Yeah.
here again.
Yeah, you get paid fuck all, and then you just like,
And then you got to say thank you.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then you
That's-
go home, and
that's
by
the
time-
kicker.
Even if you don't have a lot of drinks, but by the time you factor in, not even looking at the time and investment over the year's effort, literally just the night. You know, if there's a couple of cars, that's, you know, $10-20 in petrol, maybe a bit more depending on how far you've had to travel. If it's a local show, parking. If you're somewhere in the city that you have to pay for parking, that's going to be, you know, again, 2 cars. Let's say that's going to be another, like, depending on where you are, $25 to $50, maybe even more. You know, dinner for how many people's in the band that everyone's paying for, a couple of drinks, you know, like all of that shit. And then, you know, so it comes to like hundreds of dollars that you as a group have put into this. Just this night, just the immediate costs on the night. Not accounting for buying and maintaining our equipment, music lessons over the years, rehearsal space, time and money put into merch, and all this other promotion and all this other stuff.
Seraph, like on the night, you're going to get 2 drink tickets where you can get 2 Carlton drafts.
Yeah,
It's worth
and
$10.
and you're gonna get all of
Yeah.
the exposure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, I get it. Not every venue can afford to pay every band, you know, several $100s every time they play there.
Yeah.
And it's a model, you know, like I'm not running a venue, so I can't speak to how the model can be improved from that side of it.
It's easy. I'm set of ages, go back to the old way. As soon as the band plays that night, 10% of bar revenue goes back to all the bands. At the end of the day, that's where the money's made.
Like, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of venues in the valley that operate that way. They'll say like, if we make over, like you have to play here, this is your costing. If you want us to also, you know, hire our sound guy, it's going to be this much. You know, blah blah blah. Unless bar sales surpass a certain amount. If bar sales surpass a certain amount, there's no charge to you, and you know, whatever. And then, you know, there's like ticket sales and stuff is how the bands get paid, and you can, if you're hiring the venue, you decide how that gets split out. But there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. I feel like there needs to be like musicians, a few musicians need to come together and open a venue, and try and, you know, just because that's got to be like a way to make it work somehow. You know,
I mean, that was a great thing about the Albion back in the day, though. It was in such a good spot.
Yeah.
Like, it was walking distance from the train station. It was at one of the biggest train stations in Western Sydney. Like, it was every Thursday, and it was on a Thursday night, and I shit you not, every fucking Thursday night that place was packed from end to end. And people would stay there until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and just sink, piss, and listen to music.
It was a popular place to go in general, which helped.
Yeah.
Which helped. So I mean, there's just there's a spot up here called Tomcat that's really really good. It's like wedged in between a bunch of titty bars in the valley, and they like the thing literally says like it's like Tomcat. We're not a strip club, but they have it's just a popular place to go, and so you get a really good crowd in there. So they know Friday and Saturday nights they're gonna be making it hand over fist at the bar. So they, they'll do a lot of free entry stuff. If it's free entry at Tomcat, it's gonna be fucking packed.
See, that's exposure. That's exposure I will take any day of the week.
Yeah. And the bands get paid. I think it's like, last time we played there, it was $125 per band.
Yep.
Got to play there. Which is like, all right. Like that's. I don't think that's necessarily unreasonable. And on top of that, each band gets a $50 bar tab. Which $50 bar tab isn't heaps.
No,
but it's enough to have a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
And that's one of the more reasonable things, spots that I've found there. And I think for the rights, and that's a combination because you're getting paid a little bit, you got the bar tab there, and you're getting good exposure to, like we played there in September and we had like the room was fucking full.
There you go. See, and that's a venue that obviously takes their music seriously.
Getting along, and they absolutely do. They absolutely do.
That's quick pro quo. Do you know what I mean? We're going to guarantee you, if you play here, we'll give you $125, we'll give you $50 in drinks, and we'll guarantee you that you have a full room here.
And that's the reason that they're booked so far ahead. Like they're constantly booked like 6 months in advance.
That's unreal. That's such a good concept.
So it really, they've made a good spot that people want to go to. And they've made the business model work.
I'll fucking steal that business. If any pubs are listening in Sydney, Jesus Christ, so just listen.
I think the trouble is making it an appealing place for people to go to. General.
But that's the whole thing. Is it's like
they get a lot of the uni crowd apparently.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, but that's where you got to go the whole Wayne's World route. If you book them, they will come.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we've already run long, so let's wrap this up. Anyone, ACEY, thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing having you on here.
Yeah,
definitely. We need to have you back on again for sure. And I mean, I don't know. You guys can tee up.
I'm gonna message you. I'm gonna message you through the week, and we'll see if we can clear some stuff up.
Is there anything that you've got coming up with any projects that you want to talk about that you want to plug?
Not really, just my TikToks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go follow ACEY on TikTok. Make him go viral. He's trying to be a content creator. All this. All right. And Kyle, what have you got coming up on Beer Buddy, mate?
Let's see. I'm still waiting back on. They're just coming in as they're coming at the moment. I'm emailing people, and I'm getting like 1 or 2 days notice. Everyone is very, very busy playing shows in Queensland at the moment, so scheduling's a bit off, but just keep your eye on the YouTube page, and you'll see them pop up if you click that bell, and I'll try and get everything out ASAP.
Awesome. So quick reminder, everybody, as we mentioned at the top of the podcast, hit that follow button if you want to be in the running to get that ticket to Gymna. We do, as a reminder, have the paid subscriptions there. So if you want to get on that, you'll avoid having to worry about the ads. You get some special emotes and stuff in the chat, which is awesome. What else have we got? So this is my last one before I go away.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, I'll be off for 7 fucking weeks all over America. I'm going to try and see if I can tee up some interviews while I'm over there. I got one that's looking like happening. And I'm going to try and see if I can swing some other ones. Don't really know. I'm going to try and get out to some local shows over there, talk to bands, try and make some connections.
And enjoy your holiday.
Let's see what happens. And but the focus is definitely going to be on enjoying the holiday for sure. Other thing as well, these other boys don't know I'm about to tell everybody this.
Wow.
I can't make a. This is look. I always say I hate when bands announce the announcement, but so all I'll say is keep your eye out on the Skunkbone social medias tomorrow night. That's all I'm gonna say. Kyle, I'll send you what it is after we're off the live stream.
Yeah,
Ace,
Primies.
I'll send it to you as well if you're interested. But yes, keep an eye on the Skunkbone social medias.
Awesome.
Other than that, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to Hazard Halo. Always a pleasure to see you in the chat,
Lovely.
my dear.
How you going?
We are going to sign this off now.
Just
thank you so much, everybody.
Just real quick. Sorry, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but there will be another reaction video coming out soon. I've heard that Periphery are bringing out a new video clip this week for the new album.
Very nice.
And it's supposed to be like an anime feel to it, so I'm all about that shit. I'm really excited. And Trip Sitter just dropped their new track today, which I will be going to and listening to straight after this. So go check that out.
Awesome. Keep an eye out for those reactions videos. Maybe what we should do, guys should do this one while I'm away, is get ACEY back on and do a reaction or a breakdown of like a Chair Like Issues live thing or something from that 2008 Aubrey set. Something like that. You guys can talk all about it.
Next week will be a pre-recorded.
Is it next week's pre-recorded?
Yes.
Next week's pre-recorded. We have Cyrus coming on next week. Are we sure next week's pre-recorded? I can't even remember.
You leave next week.
Yes. Yes. Next week's a pre-recorded. Yes, we got Cyrus on. That one's a pre-tape, so I will be on there. But after that,
I'll be in the chat.
There's some other cool ones. Coming up. Yes, Kyle will be in the chat for next week, but it's going to be a pre-tape. So other than that, guys, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. ACEY, don't go anywhere once we finish the stream because I want to talk to you a little bit. And as always, just be kind to each other. Let's look out for one another, and just because the best way we're going to get through all the craziness that's going on in the world right now. So take care of each other. We're going to close this out with a video of some sort. From not another sequel, just another prequel. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next time.
See you.